Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I'm just going to get some cards ready. You guys, there was a sudden shift in energy right now. And I don't know what it means, but it's feeling crazy. Like crazy in I guess, a good way. I'm not sure. We about to find out, though. We about to find out. Okay. Just getting these cards ready. How are you guys doing? I feel like whatever is happening, what I've been seeing for the last several days, actually since the 3rd, since that 3-3 portal, what I've been seeing is an uptick in tremendous positive potential. I don't know if you guys are noticing it yet, but this uptick in potential, if you can really just allow yourself to consciously harness it, to consciously choose the ways in which you will utilize this period, I think tremendous things are about to happen for people. I think this is the part that we've been talking about for quite a few days. It's baby Mimi's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, baby Mimi. All right. So, final deck. That's a lot of cards. Okay. For whatever reason, I pulled two pulls from that deck. Okay, let's get started. I asked what this conversation was going to be about. In addition to whatever it was that I felt, the shifting in the energies, all of that, what I heard is what happens next is up to you. And it felt like a good thing. It felt like your soul is basically reminding you you're completely in control here. It is up to you. Choose something good, right? Make it a good thing. Okay. And then, of course, that shift that I felt as everything started, something doesn't want you to choose good things. It's up to you. It's up to you what you choose, how you choose to move through this period. It is absolutely up to you, right? So you're going to be made aware of something, concealment in reverse. Whatever this is that you're going to be made aware of, you need to really be open to seeing from a space of neutrality what this is, right? You have to view it from a space of neutrality. So, what does that mean? Well, for many of us, if we're going through something difficult, most likely you're heavily invested in the emotions of what's going on. If it's a negative type of experience, obviously the emotions are going to be very intense, most likely very negative. That's completely understandable. What you need to do is take a step back for a moment. If you were watching the person you love the most going through what it is you're going through, enduring what it is you are enduring, would you be okay seeing them go through that? Right? Would you be okay with that? If not, then maybe you need to make some choices that will remove you from that difficulty. If it's something where it's making you feel very happy, the thought of the person who you love the most, experiencing the things you're experiencing, then maybe you should do more, right? Maybe you should immerse yourself in that much more. So, whatever this is that you're being shown, again, it's a repeating message of if you're going to allow the negativity, if you're going to allow the ugliness to be something that repeats, this is what you have in store. Okay. So we're already, I believe, in spring, I think. Don't quote me. I think we are. Your spring will be upside down, right? Your spring will be upside down. You won't experience a continuation or a furthering of your healing. This stems from the lack of enforcement of boundaries, which stems from your unwillingness to be aware, cognitive of the things that you are allowing. We have to take responsibility for our decisions and what we allow and don't allow. Allowing does not mean you are in control of someone else. It means you are giving someone outside of you permission to have access to you and to exhibit certain types of behaviors that you find unacceptable or acceptable, right? So, for example, if you feel like you don't deserve any better, then you will see or you will convince yourself that whatever these behaviors are, well, I mean, it's not that bad. Is it not that bad? Are you upset by it? Is it something that is very much disturbing your peace? Because if it's disturbing your peace, then it absolutely is not okay. Right? It's absolutely not okay. Some people have this logic, like if they're in, and speaking in general terms, some people have this logic. If they're in a relationship where their partner screams at them obscenities, Felix, don't yell at me. I'm in a relationship with this colonizing cat. He's been yelling at me all morning outside of my office door. Meow, mom, meow. I don't know if you guys can hear him. Hopefully you cannot. It rattles me when he yells at me. So you could have a relationship where the person yells obscenities at you all day long, puts you down, makes you feel badly about yourself, about your appearance, about who you are as a person. And that's obviously unacceptable. If you were to see someone else experiencing that, you'd be like, that's not okay. You're a nice person. You're a good person. That's not okay. But as you're experiencing that, it could be a thing of thinking to yourself, well, I mean, he did have a rough day or she did have a rough day. And I mean, at least they're not being physically aggressive with me. Do y'all hear him? This is the land of the non-colonized, Felix. You cannot enter. Call me Madam Magellan. You will not colonize my office. You are not allowed entry. He's going to start yelling again. Leave me alone. But I love him so much. My God. Focus, girl, focus. He's not that handsome. I promise y'all, he has everything he needs from across the baby gate. He's just yelling because he wants to be able to love me aggressively. He has not bit me or clawed me today. He usually will deposit all his fur all over me. And once he's done that, he's satisfied. And then he will either try and trip me or he will bite me. Lovingly. It's a love bite. And I don't want to be bit today. No, he can't be in my office. He's not allowed in specific areas of the house. I tell you, he's a colonizer. He's not allowed free reign of the house. He's allowed only in specific areas. To let him know we are all equals here. You will not commandeer the entirety of the family, which he always does. So You see the example that I gave, right? This thing of making excuses, of convincing yourself that your needs and your standards and your boundaries, they're not fully valid because it's not that bad. If it disturbs your peace, it is that bad. It is bad. And you need to set some standards that will help you to make decisions that will create furthering of your peace. So for me, my general rule of thumb, if I have to try and convince myself that your actions are okay, then it's not okay. My most important rule of thumb, if I said no, it means no. And I will not be convincing myself that I'm tripping. You will not be convincing me that I'm tripping. And if you try any of that, you are cut out of my fucking life. Why? Because I have weak boundaries. I have weak boundaries. I do. I have weak boundaries, and I know this about me, and that's why I, for the most part, stay out of the emails. I stay out of the messengers. I'm kind of just like, listen, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. If you can't control yourself, if you can't enforce your boundaries, if you, like me and my Piscean self, like to live in Delulu land, do not commingle Delulu land with reality. Because for me in Delulu land, everyone's goodness is the primary and only potentiality. All people are good, but not all people choose to be good. Right? So that's something that I'm learning. What happens next is up to you. You know what this means? Do you know what this means? This means you're in control. It means you're in control. If you're going to be an upside down reflection of someone else's shadow, that's a choice. It might not be a fully aware choice, it's still a choice. Okay. If those are things that you've done in the past, if that's something that you're currently doing, okay, you don't have to attack yourself. You don't have to get all, ugly with yourself and say ugly things to yourself. No, you just say, okay, wow, holy crap, I'm doing this. Okay, what do I need to do different? And that's how you move forward. Just simply acknowledging that you are doing things that's not honoring your needs. Powerful. Acknowledging you're doing things that's not honoring your needs and then berating yourself. Not okay. Come closer in the forehead. Gain clarity. You need to gain clarity as to what it is you're doing to yourself and what you are not just allowing others to do to you, but for some of us, we're not just allowing it, we are actively and unknowingly seeking the people who have the capacity and desire to punish us because we believe we deserve to be punished. You want me to tell you the truth? You want me to be blunt with you about the truth? Because for some people, for the people who are going through this, you're going to get triggered. If you want me to tell you, if you finally want clarity on your behavior, I'll absolutely tell you. I will. I ain't scared. My mama ain't raised no punk. My mama raised an aggressive person. And my mama's so not aggressive. Ah. I took in all her Piscean Scorpion energy. My mom is like Scorpio across her whole chart. Her sun is in Scorpio, but literally everything else. She's like Scorpio stellium, mammalium. And I baked in the Scorpion oven and I took it all in. Left nothing for her. So I can tell you if you want to know. You just let a girl know if you want to know. And I'll tell you. It might make you cry, though. Be careful. If you're not ready to cry today, if it's an inopportune time to release emotion, maybe I shouldn't say it right now. So acceptance. Sometimes you need to realize you were given two hands to help yourself up, not to continue to offer them to other people. What is this? Some contorted Love Hammurabi. That eye for an eye, except it's a hand for a hand. If you give someone a hand up, then it's something where you're now telling them, oh, it's okay, just cut it off. just cut it off. You're not going to grow a new hand. I'll tell you that much right now. You're not going to grow a new hand. This should only be allowed to happen to you one time because all you have left is one hand. One time, two time. Okay. Right? So what needs to happen? You need to accept the fact that you were given two hands, one to learn and one to do things with. One to learn and one to apply what you've learned with your life. Oh, y'all want to know? Okay. Have you ever thought that maybe you're drawn to the very people who have the capacity to treat you horribly because you don't even have the courage to do it to yourself, but you believe so deeply that you deserve to be treated poorly? Why is that? Why do you deserve to be treated poorly? Because if you're treated poorly, then you have a valid excuse to not heal yourself to the degree that you can finally step into the light as the greatness you were intended to be. You're not afraid of failure because you continue to choose failure day in and day out. You continue to choose to fail yourself. What you're afraid of is healing, because once you heal, you'll no longer tolerate that fucking bullshit that you tolerate and actively seek out. Because guess what? Why is this all scary for you? Because once people see you being the reality of the powerful being that you are, balanced and powerful, tapped in directly to divinity, you can't shrink your ass down anymore and hide. That's why you do it. So don't invite me to speak the truth if you're not ready to hear. That's literally why you do it. You're not afraid of failure. Shit. You're not. You've mastered how to fail yourself. Every day you practice it. You look for reasonings. You find ways to create this mental gymnastic routine that you do to bend yourself out of shape. So that way you can justify why you're going to stay stuck in the space you're stuck in right now. No. Michael says, now that you realize the process you're in, the fuck you say to me? He said, now you realize the process that you are in. Tell them what you were told to tell them. I'm not ready. There are a couple little things that are needing to be prepared still. Okay. I'm in compliance. Shut your cosmic pie hole. So it's okay. I will say. um, I'm in the process of opening up my schedule for in-person private sessions. Gives me gas. Excuse me. That's hard. In-person private sessions. Mm-hmm. 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 Not yet. I told you. You need to give me some time, but I will do it. I will. I'm already writing out the things, the offerings. This is a huge thing. Huge thing. Newly awakened. You ready for me, girl? I've been ready. I was born ready. Okay. I was born ready. I'm going to stretch you out. So some of the different sessions, and I have this intense. I don't know if it's a fear or it's a hesitation, but it's intense. These sessions, the different offerings, and there's not many, they will involve me actually place. I didn't mean to make claws. They involve me placing my hands on you. Not like this. I'm not going to hurt you. They've involved me placing my hands on you. Yeah. It's part of my mitochondrial gifting, what I was gifted through my mitochondria. I do have the ability to create different beneficial effects within the physicality of the individual by simply touching. Yes. Like, I just have an innate awareness of muscle insertion points, how to physically flow energy through muscle groupings in order to release and encourage physical repair. If like frozen shoulder, you have those type of things going on. So I'm opening up a small portion of my schedule to in person. Like, you will come to my office, and that will be done for you. And then Soul said that I would need to, you notice my face. I would need to commit to at least once every other month, a smaller in-person event for single digit number of people. It's a very small thing. And you guys would be able to experience a massive life opportunity. So, yeah. Yes. All of these shifts and changes that are occurring, these are things that they will test your ability to stay in compliance with what your soul is telling you to do. Why? Because this is really pushing and pushing and pushing your boundaries as to how much you're willing to accept, how much you're willing to embrace about the truth of the actuality of the gift that you are, to first yourself and then to other people. Right? So, it's one of those things. It's uncomfortable. Speaking to a family member about this, it's uncomfortable, but you push through. If you remain in a space where you're not just allowing yourself to momentarily, meaning a few minutes, acknowledge the fear that's rising, the hesitation, the disbelief in what your soul is instructing you to do. If you allow yourself to can y'all hear me now? All of my fear, all of my fear kind of killed my Wi-Fi for a moment. So I'm saying, if you're staying in that space of acknowledging those disharmonic feelings, that disbelief for more than a moment, you then risk being stuck there and being frozen by that fear, right? Being frozen by it is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to allow yourself to acknowledge, right? Acknowledge how it's making you feel, your response, emotional response to the experience, to the awareness, and then keep moving forward. So when Soul gave me these instructions, I felt that fear jump up from my core. Um, I'm aware I'm socially awkward, especially in person. I'm slightly awkward. Um, and so when I felt that fear, I said, and then I got out my laptop and I began writing out the service's description while I swallowed that fear down. Right? That's what you do. You acknowledge what you're the most afraid of momentarily. Give yourself a minute or so. And as it begins to increase, that's when you say, okay, I acknowledge I'm afraid. What do I need to do to bring this to full fruition? What are the first steps that need to be taken? So if I'm really going to have a physical office, which the address will not be publicly listed, if I'm going to have a physical office, then what needs to happen? I need to make sure that I have a listing of the various and limited service offerings. That's what I need to do. If that's what I need to do, that's what I need to do. Right? Because how you going to have an office, you don't know what you're going to do in there. Oh, and I have big plans of what I'm going to do in there. There's this thing called the Emmy experience. For those of you who have been to my in-person retreats, I've had was like 2 or 3 of them. I think I've had 2. I've had 2 of them. If you've ever been to my in-person retreat, those are very exclusive events and they typically are life-altering events. They're typically life-altering. So what needs to happen is I need to recognize, regardless of how socially awkward I feel, when presented with a task from Soul, because those events were had because Soul said, girl, you need to do these events. When I'm presented with a task from Soul, not only do I meet the expectations, I exceed them. My expectations, I will exceed. And for those of you that know me to some degree, you know my expectations are redonkulous. It's redonkulous. Redonkulous. And I will exceed my own expectations. So let that sink in. Let that really sink in. If you can exceed your own expectations and your expectations of yourself are redonkulous, I mean, really, what are you so afraid of? My soul has already shown me I can handle any situation I'm presented in real life in the appropriate way. That I literally have nothing to be afraid of, right? Your soul has been showing you event after event after event, experience after experience after experience. You are capable of not just handling the very situations and circumstance that were designed to push your awareness of your power forward and expand it. It's more than just that. Every event of your life shows you what happens when you show up. And most of us, we will wait until we have absolutely had enough before we allow ourselves to show up. The reality of our power to show up, right? So, what are we being taught right now? For me, it is my personal opinion that what we are being taught is we don't have to wait until it becomes the worst case scenario before we show up. That if we don't want to experience the ugliness of what a worst case scenario is, we need to show up and speak up before it even goes down that path. So show up, do what needs to be done, right? You know, I will share this. I was speaking to my son recently about some of his work things. My son has his own businesses, and I was speaking to him about some of his work things and a different potentiality that obviously is going to be fear inducing for both of us. And he kind of just looks at me, and I can tell he's now, because he's like fucking smart. Our brains function very similar. And I see it in his face. He's looking for reason after reason after reason why this is something that's not going to happen. Why it might be something that he fails at. And I'm just like, right? Like, and then so he leaves the room for a few minutes because he needed to do something. I kind of just caught him as he was entering into the kitchen. And then he comes back maybe like 15, maybe 30 minutes later. He comes back and he has his laptop at this point. And I thought he just blew me off. And I was like, okay, we're going to give him some time to process. We're going to give him some time to kind of just come to terms with the fact that we are both needing to push forward in this process that we're in, right? And so what happened? When he came back about 30 minutes later with his laptop, this mofo, he had like all this stuff laid out. He used AI. He used AI to kind of organize all of his business stuff and the descriptions. He came up with a badass tagline. I was like, well, if I can excuse me, sir. Here I am typing out my stuff. I should have just asked him what app he used. Yep. He had all that fear. And then 30 minutes later, he comes back and it's like, shit, do you offer like business coaching? Because everything that he was presenting, like, oh shit, that's good. Ooh, that tagline is good. Ooh, that business name is good. Damn, the way you're describing what you're going to offer, I would book a session. That's good. It's okay if you feel some fear. It's okay if that fear kind of, causes you to feel crippled and frozen in place for a minute or two. I mean, okay, if that's part of your process, but you don't stay there. You push forward. That's exactly what he did. And when he pushed forward, I mean, he fucking shoved it forward. I was like, okay, I'm going to shut my mouth. You showed up. You did it. You showed up. That's some good shit. He came up with really good stuff. Right? So it's okay. Accept that you will feel however you feel. If these are your usual cycles, you will go through your usual cycle, but don't let it go all the way. Don't allow it to get so anchored into your reality. It's okay to feel it for a few moments, a couple minutes, and then push forward. Because if you push forward, even while you feel afraid and begin to make plans, your energy that would have been consumed by your fear, all of that fuel would have been wasted on paralyzing yourself, on holding yourself down. Instead, it was used on pushing forward, right? So needing to come to this realization. I rarely use this deck, but when I use this deck and I see this, it reminds me of what the message was from many years ago. Not only is the door unlocked, It's not just this realization that you're coming to, that the door is being unlocked, that you can open that door. No, it's a deeper message than that. It's this need for you to understand and accept. You are the door. You are the lock. You are the key that unlocks the door. You are the doorknob, and you are the hand that turns the knob. Not only are you those things, you are the frame of the house that the door is attached to. Not only that, you are not just the dwelling space. You are not just the structure the door is attached to. You are the foundation from which that house is built and the earth the foundation is sitting upon. You are the sole creator of your life. And whoever you invite or disinvite to help or not help you co-create specific types of opportunities and experiences, if you can choose those things cognitively, intentionally, ooh, how powerful do you become? I no longer have space for people who are simply nice to me. I've learned over the years, many people will be nice to me. And sometimes the nicest ones are as nice as they are because they covertly want something from me. And they want to wait until I become codependent, until I am relying on them heavily before they spring it on me. My friendship and my presence has a price. And now you owe me. So what I say, you will do. So now I don't have room for nice people in my life. If you're nice to me, thank you. I appreciate that. Have a beautiful day. I need you to be real. I need you to be raw. I need you to be able to say to my face what needs to be said. And it doesn't have to be combative. It doesn't have to be some type of confrontational moment. I need you to be able to clearly and openly communicate with me. I need transparency. And this is just so you can be in proximity to me. This is not even building a friendship yet. My standards are very high. Why? Why? Because I have so much to offer. My friendship doesn't come at a price, but my friendship definitely comes with expectations of you being at the same level of integrity and transparency that I always choose to be at. And since then, I haven't had any of those dramas. Why? I have no more space for it. None. I have no space for that. None. So what happens next? All my energy, time, and focus goes towards what I'm building. It goes towards creating new opportunities for deeper healing, not just for myself, but for everyone that I work with. Let me tell you, the people who have treated me the worst at one point or another, they were, again, at one point or another, the ones who were the most nicest. Notice how I use the word nice, not kind, right? Nice does not intrinsically interweave with honest. It doesn't always. I once had a friend who was always very nice, only to realize after a couple of years, oh, you're fake. You're fake. And I was picking up on that over the years, but then I was telling myself, stop being such a bee, right? You're just looking for reasons to be upset. And I never really had conflict with this person. So I believed that I was being an issue. I was trying to create an issue where one didn't exist. And then one day we were conversing, and I was also close with their spouse. And their spouse said to me, "Oh, if you only knew the things that they say when no one's around." And I was like, oh, I fucking knew it. I knew it. And then it made sense. Every time this person was nice to me and complimented me on something, it's because in their head, they were talking caca about me. And to cover it up, they didn't say it out loud, right? They didn't say it out loud, but they see me as someone that's super psychic, as though I invade someone's space constantly, reading your mind, pulling your thoughts without your permission or awareness. I don't do that kind of stuff. That's gross. So they would compliment me every time they would have a thought. One example, one day I was wearing like a long sleeve shirt. It's just a casual crew neck long sleeve shirt. And it was a tie-dye shirt, like a very subtle type of tie-dye. And I liked it. I liked the cut. The fabric felt soft. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of tie-dye, but I like the softness of the fabric. I'm more about the feel and the function than I am about the aesthetics for my everyday clothes. And this person went out of their way and they're like, "I love your shirt." I was like, "Really?" Because I didn't think it would be something that was their style. So I was like, "Really?" Again, I bought it for function, right? And they're like, "Yeah, I love tie dye." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I remember thinking, like, I wouldn't think you'd like tie dye. That's weird. Oh, you like my shirt? Okay. Fast forward like 2 years. Um, they forgot they had said that to me. And it stuck out because it felt weird. Something about it felt weird. And it felt weird because I didn't want to see it for what it was. I was being lied to, bold-faced lied to. We were in person, face to face. They were lying to me, unprovoked. So fast forward about 2 years, and we were out somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, how about this? Would you like this?" Because we were shopping. And they're like, "Oh no, I hate tie dye. Oh my God, tie dye is so ugly." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I put it back on the rack. And I saw them pause and like, "Why did she look at me like that?" "Because you're a fucking liar," is why. Because you're a liar. Because you realize my memory is really bad, but I paused. And that made you wonder, did she remember something? Did I say something? What did I say? Why did she pause? Why did she look at me like that for a second? Because although my memory is bad, things that don't sit right with my soul, dishonesty, lies, maltreatment, those get filed away. I don't forget those things. Why? Because if I can remember the ugliness you tried to insert into my life, I will not allow you in my life again. That's my general rule of thumb. I have a shitty memory. So, well, it's extremes. It's either I don't remember any of it or I remember every single detail. Growing up, all the way up until around 2017-ish, 2018-ish, I had a photographic memory. Like I could read one thing and have it completely memorized. I could, and I made, this was a game I used to play. I would memorize 16-digit strings of numbers. Yeah, it was just fun for me. I would memorize credit card numbers and things like that. I never used it like that, but it was just something fun that I used to do when I was a kid. I would memorize it. And I would have it memorized for a long period, very long period. So my general rule of thumb after my memory began to kind of shift to make room for more of my energetic work that I do, If I can remember why I don't like you, you're not going to be allowed in my life. If we had some type of conflict, disagreement, but and you're gone for a little bit and then you come back and I'm like, was I mad at you at some point? Well, I don't remember, so it couldn't have been that bad. Must have just been a difference in opinion, so no big deal. All right? No big deal. I think a lot of what needs to happen is you need to understand when something is actually a big deal and when you're simply not wanting to see it for what it is. When you're making it into something else because you're afraid of how it will affect you, right? So, exactly, blissful. If you're fake, it comes out no matter how much you try to hide it. Given enough time, a fake person will always show how fake they are. It will always come forward. It will. Like this one person years ago. And I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, so it doesn't offend me if people don't like me. It doesn't. I have a really strong personality. And I remember this one person, they didn't realize that I had heard, someone told me, they had told other people that they didn't like me. They couldn't stand me was the exact words. I was like, well, I'll just steer clear. I know my personality can be a bit much. And so I've steered clear of them. All these years I've steered clear. I haven't actively avoided. I haven't had a chip on my shoulder, but I've steered clear just because, like, I know you don't like me. That's okay. You've never been disrespectful to me, but it's okay. And then several years go forward. And they're seeing, before I got shadow banned on TikTok again, I got shadow banned. They were seeing the traction that was taking place when I first switched to TikTok, right? So I'm like, okay, you're seeing the traction. You're seeing my counts jumping by thousands. Okay, minimal effort. You're looking at my video views, you're seeing like hundreds of thousands of views. And to me, that's like, shit, anyone can do it. As long as you're not shadow banned, if you create the right content, anybody can do that. Hell, if you research enough and know how to ride trends, anybody can do that. Well, what was interesting was they began coming on the lives and began complimenting me. Oh, I love your background. Just my houseplants, whatever. Hey, I think it might be time to do some work together. Yeah? No. I wish you the best, but I will never work with you. Why? Why would you want to work with me when I know you don't like me? My history reminds me when people don't like me and they want to work with me, they want to use me as a stepping stone, which I don't mind boosting someone up. I don't mind that at all. What I do mind is after I've boosted you up, the need for you to turn around and kick me in my teeth. Just so you can try and take my following. I don't have followers, though. I have a community of equals. I won't do that anymore. I've learned. I'll wish you the best. I don't want anyone to fail. I'll wish you the best. And most likely, I'll completely ignore that request. I'll completely ignore that suggestion. And I'll just quietly wish you the best and just keep it moving forward. I won't repeat those same cycles anymore, because what happens next is up to me. And if it's up to me, I'm choosing not to repeat those cycles again. I'm no longer actively seeking the very people who have the capacity and desire to treat me poorly after they've gotten from me what it was they intended to take to begin with. And here's the thing. I used to justify those types of behaviors, and I know quite a few of you will be able to relate. I used to justify those types of behaviors because in my mind and my heart, you didn't take anything from me. I willingly gave you, I shared with you. So I'm not going to see you as a bad person. I never factored in their intention because I don't work like that. I don't function or exist in that way. I take accountability. If I allowed you, that was my decision. If I know you treat people poorly and I willingly gave you access to me, I allowed that. So I don't like, oh, you're bad, you did bad to me. No, it's like, you. We're not doing that again. I'm not going, no. Have a good day though. Have a good day. I'm not that same person anymore. Um, I don't look for that anymore. I'm masochistic in other ways. Not in that way anymore. No. Now, if you still want to go out of your way to try and be hurtful and harmful and, wah, 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 you go right ahead because that showcases you and your behavior. As long as I know I did not provoke anything, I did not initiate, none of that. I'm in my own lane, living my own life, focusing on my own objectives that don't harm other people intentionally. You go and do what you do because that's you. That's not me. And I will not participate in that. I will not fuel it. I will not give you more footing to try and say this and that. People want to believe it, they go right ahead. I know what I offer. I know my level of integrity. I know the degree of transparency that I exist within. So they can do that, believe the lies, while I'm going to sit here and understand there are billions upon billions of people in this world. It's not a loss to me when someone who was never open to allowing me to help in the way that only I can help walks away. I mean, you weren't open to me helping to improve and facilitate your life changes anyway, so it's not a loss. It's not a loss for you, it's not a loss for me. It's an awareness that there's no alignment here and it's time to move forward. And I think the things that I'm talking about right now, if you can see how this applies to your life, might be different circumstance, right? Different details, but the root, the very meat of the lesson is the same. This awareness of how you use your fuel, this awareness of your character, your integrity. A lot of people are shook when others talk bad about you and you have integrity. A lot of people get shook. They're like, why would you say that? I've learned to be like, well, just another thing you said. You say a lot of things. The people who talk shit about those who they don't know, they say a lot of shit. Baby boo, wipe your tears. You're not the first or the last person they're going to talk shit about knowing nothing about you. That's who they are. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with you. But Emmy, babe, it never had anything to do with you. You know, and I know you didn't deserve that. You know, and I know you didn't do anything to start that. You know, and I know the closer you walk to God, the more the dark, dingy demons will target you. Keep it moving. The hardest type of target to hit is one that keeps moving. Not out of fear, but out of inspiration and sheer drive. If you don't let these things slow you down, you don't have to take the time to rebuild the momentum you already had before they began trying to tear you down. I hate when Michael makes these conversations about me. He's like, are you listening to what you're saying? Yes. Yes, I am. Mm. Eric says, caught between a bullet and a target. Do you know the rate of speed that a bullet travels at? You're not caught between anything. You're either going to get hit or not. And if you're moving, people who shoot that much, they tend to have zero accuracy. It's like the equivalent of the people who they go to the range and they just unload ammo, right? My husband, sometimes we have these conversations. They talk about things like binary and, things like that. And I've always been averse to those types of modifications. I don't have any of those modifications and I don't want to. Why? That's a bullet dump. That's a fucking waste. You're not going to hit your target. Why? Well, the recoil alone. So with a binary, when you pull the trigger, it launches one, and when you release, it launches another. So it's like, and then because of the shaking, the recoil shaking, you're going to keep reacting. And so you've basically unloaded the entire magazine. You haven't hit shit. You haven't hit shit. Whereas for me, depending on what I'm using, if I have Plink in my hand, as long as Plink and I are properly aligned, as long as I have her on my shoulder just right, and I have control of the muzzle, whatever I point at will go Plink. That's why her name is Plink. I hit everything I point at. Why? I'm not in any rush and I'm not trying to prove anything at all. I'm simply focused on the task at hand. I remember I went to a range one time. It was an indoor range. And the guys who work there, it's all like testosterone up in that range, right? And I was showing my family. My family had come with us to the range, a family member, and I was showing her how to handle Plink. And I was like, so you do this, this, and this. And I don't have anything but iron sights on it. So you line up the iron sights in this way and you kind of just aim. And when you're ready, you squeeze and that's it. See how it feels. And the worker was basically like, oh, you need to do this and this and this and this and this. And I was like, oh, I don't know the technicalities. I don't know the terms or any of those things. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe if you listen to him, and if that suits you better, then perfect. And I could feel he was kind of viewing me as like, oh, this silly little girl don't know nothing. And so that's fine because I don't, but I'm accurate as fuck. I might not know the terms, but I work within my own capacity. So my family was done trying out my items. They're like, do you want to practice? And I said, sure. So I go ahead and I grab Plank. Again, it's just iron sights. And I push that target out to 100 yards. Yep. Only did maybe 8 or 10 rounds, 8 or 10. All of them grouped tightly, center mass. Not just center mass. You can tell I can put you down at 100 yards. I'm not going for the bullseye. I'm going just left of sternum, grouped real tight, just left of sternum. The guys all were quiet behind me. No, I didn't feel cocky. I felt like, okay, good, good. So next set, I'm going to aim for another area, and I want to group it even tighter. And I want to really be able to do it in quick succession, not taking like 1, 2, next, 1, 2, next. I want to be able to drop the muzzle, pick it up, and go. Drop the muzzle, pick it up, and go, and still have it in a tight grouping. You know what those guys said? The one that thought I was just a silly girl because I don't know the technicalities. I don't know the terms. I don't really pay attention to the calibers or anything like that. I just know what I prefer. I prefer 223, 557, 223. That's what I prefer. Anything outside of that, I'm not interested. He asked me if I'm ex-military. He asked me if I'd be interested in being an instructor at that range. No. No, I'm not. I'm not ex-military. I'm not current military. I'm not interested in being an instructor. I'm just working on perfecting the harmony I feel when I work with the tools that I have on hand. I stay in my lane and I focus on what I need to do. It does not matter what anyone else is doing. I switched to Bougie Gucci. Those are my tools are named. I switched to Bougie Gucci, and Bougie Bougie Gucci is like a hand cannon. It doesn't bother me, but if you're down range from from me, if you're to the right of me, it's gonna sound like boof, right? It has a folding. It's a pistol. It's a pistol. That one has an actual green dot sight on it, so I can take it even further. And I'm using that. And the guys who were to the right of me on the range, they were dumping all of their ammo, like, bah, 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 like, you're just wasting ammo. That shit's not cheap. You're just wasting it. You're not even hitting your paper. But I was like, let them do. That's their money. That's their stuff. Whatever. So one was using a very high caliber, um, wasting bullets, high caliber bullets. And my husband was being bothered by that, right? It was like, because it's really fucking loud. That shit doesn't belong in an indoor range. And I was like, I don't care. So I get out Gucci and I start. All of them stopped. All the guys stopped. Not only did they stop shooting down their range, they put their tools down and took a step back, and all of them were just standing there like, I don't give a shit. I'm focused on what I need to do. I'm focused on what I need. I'm not putting on a show for you. Carry on with your business. What happens next after you choose to do what you need to do is completely up to you. No, that wasn't an ego boost. That was awkward. Like, y'all need to go back to what you're doing. That was awkward. If you stay in your lane and you can really focus on what needs to be focused on, anything else happening in your environment is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. I know. And then my case has like Hello Kitty. I'm not even joking. My case has Hello Kitty. I wanted to powder coat. I wanted to powder coat my X95 in like blush pink. But I didn't want to spend the money to powder coat it. That's the thing. If you can see the ways in which your focus can really cause you to excel, then you will excel, right? You will excel. If you allow whoever is watching to affect your mindset, then what are you? A show pony? The gravity of your existence, the gravity of the task at hand suddenly goes out the door, it goes out the window, and it becomes something that's just a novelty. It's just a novelty. Why do I not release documentation of my work? Why do I rarely talk about the true gravity of the work that I do? Because I'm not a novelty. I don't need to convince people, and I don't need to try and waste my time and energy and focus on trying to prove the reality of who I am. You either recognize that or you don't. And if you don't, I respect that. I don't take myself so seriously that everyone has to see me in the way that I demand everyone to see me. It's irrelevant how people see me. Why is it irrelevant? Because I finally see myself. So what's going to happen next? It's completely up to me. It is completely up to me. Completely. Going to the range and having that type of experience with other guys at the range. And my husband be liking it. He thinks it's badass. I'm like, fucking weirdos. Guys can be weirdos. Like, yo, I didn't even show up here with a sword. Yo, you do your sword fight somewhere else. I'm not involved in that. I'm not involved with trying to compete with you. You know, some women, some people have this mindset of like, I want you to see me as someone who can do anything a man can do. Open that pickle jar for me. I don't want to open that shit. That hurts my hand. Please, please. Yeah, I can drive and I'm a really good driver. I know how to drift and all of that shit. Please, I prefer passenger princess. Excuse me. No, I don't want to drive. What, to prove that I can drive like a man? I know I can. Bitch, I like to finish sitting and doing my work stuff and just looking out the window as we drive. Yeah, I can deadlift more than most guys. I can leg press more than most guys. I don't feel like I should bring in fucking groceries. Are you kidding me? You expect me to bring in groceries and cook? Please. I don't need to prove shit. Please. I don't think so. And no, it's not that I want to be catered to. It's that I have the freedom to choose what I will and will not participate in. And that's not determined on my desire to prove that I can be your equal. I never want to be a man. Are you kidding me? I have enough testosterone in my body to challenge most men. I don't want to be a man. I like looking girly. Stop. I do. I like looking girly. I like being feminine. Don't get that twisted, though. You trigger me just right, you'll see a little ass man come out of me. And I will stand my ground. And no, I'm not fucking scared of you. Please. You just inconvenienced me and you need to know. What happens next in your journey needs to be dictated by you based not on what you're trying to prove to other people. It's based on what you need most to understand where you are within yourself. And I tell you, I used to be very masculine. And I still have very masculine energy, but I am thoroughly enjoying my feminine spaces. Why? Because I have a masculine husband. I don't need to worry about that shit. Are you kidding me? My husband takes care of me. Police? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I told my husband a couple weeks back, a couple months back, I don't even remember when. I was like, sir, you're not allowed to get sick. Who will take care of me? He was like, he goes, I was sore from working out and I was laying on the couch. And then we needed to carry up a solid wood fucking dresser. Right. And he tells our boys, like, don't worry, mama's a swole cat or whatever the hell he said. Mama's badass. She'll help me carry it up. I was like, how fucking dare you? I was so offended. Like, you didn't even ask me first. You're just gonna volunteer me to fucking carry shit? I didn't say anything, right? I was just looking at him like, and he's like, what? You be deadlifting hella shit at the gym. You fucking lift like 100,000 pounds. What I do at the gym is none of your business. See, he said, you best believe I'm going to volunteer you. Excuse you. You need to privately pull me aside first and ask me if I'm in the mood to carry shit. And then so I was like really sore, right? So we start carrying it up the stairs. We're heading towards the stairs. And he's like, do you want me to be the one to go up first, or do you want me to be at the bottom? It's lighter for the person at the top because the person at the bottom of whatever heavy shit you're carrying up, they're carrying a bulk of that weight. And I was like, I will be at the bottom. He's like, I thought you were sore. I will be at the bottom. Why? Because my hamstrings are weak. I can't bend down and like step back. That involves more hamstring. I'm more quad dominant, so I could be at the bottom and I just have it solidified up my chest. And as long as it's like an upward movement, like a leg extension, my quads can handle that. And then he was telling me once we got to the top, he's like, just set it down. I can carry it myself. No. No. We're going to carry it all the way to where it has to be. Why? Because my quads are already awake. You already woke up my quadriceps. We're going to carry it all the way. So we did. We did. We carried it all the way. It was no longer to try and prove like anything. It was just the fact that they're already awake, they're ready for work. It might as well maximize, and it'll give me an extra little pump in my quads. I just feed them a little bit more and they will stay pumped, and it will create a little bit more potential for separation. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Everything that I do, I decide for myself. I'm very, very blessed to have a husband that respects that. Right. I'm very blessed to have a husband that respects that. And for those of you, not to take anything away from my husband, because I'm very, very blessed to have the husband that I have, not to take anything away from him. But for those who will say, well, you can be that way because you have a good partner. I have a good partner because I chose a good one. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You cannot complain about the way you struggle if you pick a partner that creates more struggle. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. If you continue to choose, we chose each other, Eric. Eric says, or did he choose you? It doesn't matter if I choose him or if he chooses me. If we don't both choose each other every day, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So that shows how we are equally important. We are not codependent, we are interdependent. There is nothing he can do that I can't do by myself. And there is nothing I can do that he cannot do by himself. But when we do it together as equally strong people, fucking magical shit happens. Why? Because we respect each other, we choose each other, we support each other. What happens next is up to you. Are you going to continue to choose the very circumstance, and that could be a relationship, a friendship, a work environment, a home environment, a type of dynamic that exacerbates your fears, your struggles? It's an antagonistic circumstance. Are you going to continue to choose that? If you are choosing that, why are you choosing that? I know quite a few people who have been in a long-term relationship that is extremely unhealthy for them because they simply didn't want to surrender to the truth that the people who love them told them. This relationship is doomed. Right at the beginning, they were told by the people who know them and love them, this relationship is unhealthy for you, it is doomed. And that's when you choose to like double down, dig your heels in, and hold on to the very thing that's hurting you the most. I'm not trying to be judgmental. And I know there's a potentiality it's coming out as that. So let me reframe my thoughts. I don't understand that type of existence. And if I don't understand it, there's no way I could possibly ever support it. And just because I don't support that due to my lack of understanding, it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that there's a misalignment. I can't advise you on something I don't understand. Something that I just don't understand. I don't understand that. So if you're in that, and what I'm saying is making sense and it's reverberating, but it's also triggering you, give yourself time to process. I don't know what any of it means, but I do know you're seeing this and you're hearing this and you're being affected by this because it's something you need to hear. And maybe it's something that will just sit in the back of your head for several years, or maybe this really hearing this and feeling the reverberation inside you is a final straw and you're like, enough, I'm done. If you're done, you need to start making decisions and moves that are aligned with your belief that you're done, right? You need to surrender to the reality of what's happening. For some of us, for most of us, it's really just getting you to a point where you're no longer making excuses for yourself and your decisions. It's not about attacking yourself again. That's the last thing you need to do. It's not going to do anything good for you. It's not about attacking yourself. It's about being able to see things with clarity, not as a victim and not as an enabler, but just seeing the circumstance with clarity, removing the emotion for a moment so you can see very clearly, okay, this decision led to that, this decision led to that. I didn't like either of those, so I need to make other decisions that lead elsewhere, right? It's about recognizing how powerful you are and what you create for your experiences, for what you create in the potential. A lot of us don't realize we have that much control, that much say over ourselves and over our energy. A lot of us don't. And now you do. If you didn't know, you can't be held accountable for what you didn't know, right? But now you do know. So now it's up to you to hold yourself accountable when you make the same decisions, when you choose the same options and the patterns repeat. Is there a need to blame anyone, or is there just a need to recognize, okay, so now I've given myself the opportunity to confirm this type of decision will always lead to this type of circumstance or outcome. So maybe I need to begin exploring other potentials. I'm not saying, because I suddenly picked up, someone is thinking, oh, I should start talking to other people. Not if you're still in a relationship. What the fuck? If you're considering talking to, you want some relationship advice? I'll give you relationship advice. If you are still in a relationship and you're no longer committed, then you are not in a relationship and you need to make it official. If you are still in a relationship and now you're considering other people, then you are not in that relationship. What you have is a security blanket that you refuse to let go of in case nothing better is down the road. That's not okay. That's not okay. But what if what? But what if I'm really supposed to be with my person and this is just a rough patch? Well, then fucking fix it. That's what. Have a conversation and see if your person is willing to commit the time and the effort that you are willing to commit to fix what is going askew. If both of you are not willing to commit, end it right then and there. Stop being messy in ways you don't need to be messy. It's like the difference between being messy as you create art. All right, paint will drip, clay will spill, like all of these different things, like beads will be spread everywhere. That's part of creating art. Versus dumping your trash and sweeping it around, not to sweep it up, but to further spread it through your home and out your neighborhood. That's nonsensical bullshit. Know the difference. Are you creating and sustaining bullshit? Or is this just part of the messiness that art intrinsically carries with it? I'm just saying, is what you're doing really the reality of what you're telling yourself you're doing? Right? I will never sugarcoat or enable people's lack of integrity and honesty. Oh, but you don't know what. Okay, you know what? My husband and I, we've had many periods through our 26-year connection where we didn't see eye to eye. We didn't agree on things. We weren't aligned. And yeah, no. If you're that unhappy, then leave the relationship. Oh, I can't just give up. You already gave up the moment you began trying to look for reasons as to why it was okay to do things with other people. The programs were being taught by society, by social media, this whole, and I don't know, because I'm not in the dating scene and I haven't been for 26 years. So I don't know what y'all are dealing with. But this whole concept that was very popular a couple of years ago, and I don't know if it's still popular, of being the side chick, the side guy. Do you want my opinion on that? I'm very opinionated on something like that. I'm very opinionated. That's not a flex. It's not. It is so not a flex. Maybe I'll just keep my opinion to myself. There is opportunity for growth in the darkness, right? Because of your fear of the unknown, your fear of potential failure, I guess, you resist your growth. You continue to resist it. You continue to create opportunities for your fear to drive you further and further and further away from what you're trying to accomplish. you need to give yourself permission to pause, allow yourself to kind of take stock of what's happening, what direction you're facing, what you really want, and then recalibrate once you get clarity on what it is that's actually happening and how aligned or misaligned it is from what you were trying to get done. This is something you're going to do on your own. What happens next is up to you. There's no alliance that you're going to be able to form that's going to make this happen in the way that you are hoping it happens in. It's not enough to hope anymore. You need to put the action behind the desire. It's not enough to talk big anymore. I mean, it never was enough. Talking big and not putting any action behind it, I mean, that's just so unattractive. Speak things into being by first speaking with clarity and then putting the action behind what you've just declared. There's going to be a lot of attempts to reduce your productivity. For many people, they're not realizing that there's a huge, huge push to put you under the influence of something. It could be something that inspires you, but for many who are unaware, it's going to be something that's designed to pull and draw your energy away from you, to rob you of your potential. That reminds me. So all of this is ramping up because we have a blood moon lunar eclipse coming. It's going to be on the 13th, and I'm going to be doing a fire ceremony for that. A lot of what needs to happen is you need to be aware of the ways in which you need to protect yourself in your field. I need to do that. I completely forgot. Hold on. I'll write it down. A lot of this involves transformation that no one talks about. Are you ready to spice up your day? I have a whole bunch of notifications I just noticed. These are powerful messages. Very powerful messages. I'll be adding another offering later today. I have to write the description. A lot of what's happening between now and the 13th has a lot to do with Lilith kind of going bonkers. That distorted, very destructive Lilith energy is trying to find a way in. There's a lot of messages regarding portals opening again. Maybe like 6-8 months ago, there were messages regarding portals opening, mirrors needing to be covered. Now, because of the intensity of this period, mirrors and closets, confined spaces that can be very dark, like pitch black, that people don't typically occupy. So not just bedrooms, but closets specifically, where it can be pitch black, and humans don't typically infuse a lot of their energy into their closets. They don't typically claim that space. This is why closets can become portals. So why kids, when they're sensitive to energies and something enters their room, they're usually like, there's a monster in my closet. It has a lot to do with that, right? So with all of that, there's going to be a Lilith armor option. She is going bonkers with a lot of people. A lot of fear is being triggered, a lot of old traumas, just a lot of stuff. I don't like to talk about it at this point simply because it's like I'm sick and tired of her shit. I am. I'm sick and tired of the ways in which she's been really working with a lot of demonic things. And they've been using that Lilith energy and that connection to human codes in order to try and access those that are needing to be pushed forward and upward at this point. So rediscovery. Dang it. Oh my God. I'm going to put all of this into context because this is what the cards are saying. So this card, these two cards, holy fucking shit. This whole thing. Okay. Oh. So it brings with it a whole different set of messages. So Lilith is a girl. She's looking through the lock. For many of you, you've had your spaces locked down for the last several months. It's been locked down. Good for you. So she's been occupying the dark spaces, right? And she's being used as a foundation. 3 is a number of a solid foundation. She's being used as a foundation from which to launch something. So for many of you, there's going to be mimics that are going to be approaching either directly or indirectly. These are mimics. They're going to present themselves as something cosmic, as something profound. In reality, they're not. They're trying to get you to surrender your sovereignty and your authority over yourself. Now, it's from the darkness, the shadow spaces, that something is going to be emerging. And this is looking like an eclipse to me. 40. The number 4 is the number of self. 0 is the number of origination. Dark luck. Shh, that's not good. What the fuck? Give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Oh, okay. Confirmation. So here goes. This is indicative of the eclipse. 4 is a number of self. 0 is a number of the origination point. So they're trying to bring you back to that point of origination where she still had so much access and so much control. This was early on in the history of humans. Now, this rabbit here, darkness. Rabbits typically represent luck. This is dark luck. Darkness is trying to really exploit this period, and they hope they'll get lucky, right? They'll hope they'll get lucky. So rabbit, the meaning of a rabbit. This is a very creative time for you. The rabbit represents the darkness. It's a very creative time for darkness. So it's important to quickly take advantage of any opportunity that comes their way unexpectedly. So dark things will want to take advantage of any opportunity where you are destabilized. Organic portals are going active. And a large portion of the organic portals of the world are being activated to be antagonistic. They are people who will suddenly be just very combative, very confrontational, very argumentative for no fucking reason. No reason at all, just to rile you up, right? Because at that point, you're going to be experiencing parasitic thought dysregulation, emotional dysregulation, psychological dysregulation, and you won't notice when something tries to breach. Be extra vigilant for the next couple of days, and if anything threatening shows up, leave as quickly as possible. This is what the book is saying. Rather than steady step-by-step progress, you'll see it happen in leaps and bounds. You're going to find yourself experiencing a period of quiet and stillness, followed by a burst of intense activity. Oh my gosh. Express your love freely and readily to those you're closest to. So y'all need to do whatever you need to do. We can talk about this further in the sanctuary. And all of that really is about trying to force your growth to be squashed, trying to halt your growth, your expansion of your awareness. So all of that new level of message, new layer of message came through because I became aware of this. Children especially are going to be susceptible to this, okay? It's to fuck with a parent and to also negatively impact the child. This looks like a closet and there's a being in the closet. With the moon, it's something that's hidden from the vision and awareness of the parent. These are concealed spaces, portals. Y'all better listen to your kids if they start telling you they're afraid. You know your child. Do not try and convince them that they are lying or not seeing things. When you see that they are genuinely afraid, you know your child. Yes, some of us have children who are amazing at storytelling and they make up these stories, but you know they're making up the stories. And you also know when they are abso-fucking-lutely terrified. Do not gaslight your child into believing that they are making this up. If you know that they are actually genuinely afraid, don't do that. Don't do that. To give you context as to why this is happening, it's to push transformation. Dragonflies represent transformation. They represent transmutation. They represent spiritual growth. Growth is being forced. It's being pushed through. So let it get pushed through. Yep. Need to send their asses packing. That is what they need to do. Okay. All right. So the last set of cards. Man, oh man. Okay. Defend to the end the worthwhile. You need to make sure that you do what needs to be done for your health and wellness, as well as for the health and wellness of your entire family and household. Okay? So make that happen. Make that happen. Next card, dream a beautiful dream. It's in reverse. So quite a few of you, have you begun having weird dreams? Dreams that you don't remember, dreams that are intense. And when you wake up, you feel intense, but you don't remember the details. Or are you flat out having night terrors, seeing beings in your sleep, where it's like you dream that you've woken up, but you haven't actually woken up and there's a being in your room? These are all signs of something. So looking at this image, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you believe. This is a process that's being pushed across the entirety of the planetary grid, the planetary template. So quite a few people are already experiencing this. This is not dependent on whether you believe in spirituality or not. It's not dependent on that. Okay. So quite a few of you are having experiences. Send those bastards packing. Send them packing, you know? Send them packing. You guys need to seal your rooms. You need to seal your closets. You need to seal your mirrors again. Not out of fear, but out of like, no, this is my space, and only what I allow in my space is what's going to be in my space. Get pissed off. Don't be afraid. Get pissed off. Get mad. Get mad. And harness that anger and be like, no, you are not allowed in my room. It's like that annoying cousin, right? Do you have a cousin that annoys you? One that's always like a troublemaker, one that creates drama. When they come visit, I know you have to have at least had one cousin that was like this. When they come and visit, they go through everyone's shit and like they have always so much to say about everybody. And really, all the other cousins are just done with this cousin. View this demonic thing like that cousin. Would you be like, oh my God, cousin, I'm scared of you. Oh my God, you're in my room and I'm scared of you. I'd be like, girl, what the fuck you doing in my room? Right? See it as that annoying relative that needs to finally be told, like, you can't just go in people's rooms. The fuck is wrong with you? The family party is not in my room. See, Kat has a cousin like that. I mean, I do have an older cousin like that, but we don't fist fight. I don't fist fight my cousins. Yeah. But she'd be like, she has so much to say about it. Like, girl, the fuck? That's why the last time I saw that one cousin, I was like, your eyelashes are fucked up. Didn't your lash tech not tell you need to brush that shit? And then I got out a spoolie from my purse. I'm like, here, brush that. It's all like, you making all of us look bad. Look at the fuck. How you gonna leave the house looking like that? I'm sick and tired of her talking shit. I beat her to it. She's like, oh my God. Oh my God, I can't believe you're saying that. I'm like, girl, you need me to brush it for you? Your lashes going all kind of different ways. Yeah, she's like the super sensitive one because all the aunties used to like totally just protect her all the time. No one can say anything to her or her feelings. She's like hella older than me. She's like what, 10 years older or something? 8 to 10 years older. I don't know. She's like, girl. She tried to tell me, ew, ew, I just got off work. I work graveyard. It take about 2 seconds to brush your lashes out with a spoolie. Girl, don't give me no graveyard excuse. You making the whole family look bad. I'm just saying, you know. All right. Treat it like that, okay? Treat it like that. Treat it like that. Treat it like that relative that's always out of hand. No one wants to say anything, but now you've really had enough and now you're going to say something. Now you are going to say something because something needs to be said and you're not going to allow it any further. Okay? Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. You just have to like relax. Okay? You just have to relax. You have to relax and you have to be aware of what you need to do. So, sealing your home, I mean, your homes should be sealed all the time. Y'all, do you live in a house with no glass windows and no doors? No glass windows and no doors? Is that how you live? Because your windows and doors should be sealed energetically. These energetic things don't need a physically open door to get in your home. It just needs to be energetically unlocked. So you need to lock that. Okay. The dream pouches. How many of you have purchased a dream pouch from me? Quite a few of you have dream pouches. Hold on. Let me find it. If you go on this link, there's a couple things from the Baneful Protection workshop that I taught. I don't want to teach another one. Sorry. There were a couple things from the Baneful Protection workshop that I taught, and the dream pouch is one of those things. And yeah, you can basically keep that dream pouch for, I would say forever. Keep it under your pillow, right? And a lot of people have had so much success with protecting their sleeping space with that dream pillow. So look for the dream pouch. Your house is built inside a barn. Is it a barn dominium? Those are plush. Those are very plush. Have you ever seen, where was it? Was it in like Switzerland or Sweden or something? Somewhere in Europe. They went ahead and they built a split level home and they created a glass barn slash greenhouse. So it's their home and it's partially submerged into the ground. And then there's a larger structure over their home where it's glass and it's basically a year-round nursery. And their home stays nice and cool or nice and warm. It's amazing. It's amazing. We have 2 front doors, no windows. So seal those 2 front doors. I mean, if you're having issues with things, energetic things getting into your home, seal those 2 front doors. That would suck with no windows. How's that feel to live in a structure with no windows? I would feel like, one time we rented a house and it was a nice house. It was an older house. Like I think it was built in the 30s and then they added to it over the years. So there was enough room for my family and we were like, okay, well this works. Let's go ahead and live here for a little bit. And then what happened was after we were living there for a little bit, we realized like none of the fucking windows open. Are you kidding me? Like none of the windows open. They're like closed windows. It's just like a pane of glass. There's no way to open it. And I was just like, the fuck? And then they said the home had an air conditioner. It's like in the desert. That's not an air conditioner. That's a freaking swamp cooler. And so it was like we had, because of the other home we had lived in, we had a whole bunch of like air conditioner window units, but we can't use that if the window doesn't open. What the fuck? I was like, we can't live here. It was the weirdest experience. Safe because we do have a store also, half home, half store. We run an armory. You definitely should not have windows. You definitely should not have windows. And I would absolutely feel safe as well. That's badass. I wanted to get like an FFL license at one point, and I was like, I want to have my own armory. And then I was like, this is too much effort for me. Like that's too much effort for me. That's too much. All other stuff I'm already doing. I can't do all of that. I love that though. Definitely goals. Definitely goals. So, okay, I'm going to leave you alone. I was going to start like asking you a shit ton of questions like, so does that mean you have like an indoor subterranean range to test out? Do you No, girl, mind your business. Stay out of her business. I'll ask you hella questions if you give me permission to. You don't need to be answering me. You need your privacy for your armory. For real. No one needs to know what's happening up in there. Focus on the light. So as things start to get a little bit dark for some of you who are still trying to figure out how to navigate this shadow period, you need to focus on the light. Focus on the things you want to accomplish. Focus on the good things. Don't pretend like there's no bad things, right? Like don't pretend that. But focus on the good things that you're trying to bring to fruition. Shock of the new. Once you do that, everything will begin to change. Again, we're leading up to a blood moon lunar eclipse on the 13th. Did I tell you guys? Hold on. So I'm going to be live on the 13th for the blood moon lunar eclipse, and there's going to be a lot of different things that are offered there. This is a period where you need to do what needs to be done for your, for your alignment. You need to do the work. Okay, guys, it's really important. Don't play a sacred fool. There will be people who will try and tell you how you need to navigate through this period. Only you know how to navigate through this period. Only you know what you need to do. There will be also people who will try and their organic portals. I'm telling you right now, they're organic portals. A lot of people who have a wide reach, I'm not saying all, but a lot of people who have a wide reach on social media, in fact, are organic portals. Organic portals can present as extremely intelligent. They can present as extremely evolved. They can present as someone who is very well versed in spirituality, esoterica, energy work, magical practices, and those things. The reason they can present as that is because they are programmed to hyperfixate on specific subject matters that they will be positioned in. Yep. It's not them having command of that specialized subject matter. It's them having a specialized, highly developed skill of mimicry and regurgitation. They are merely regurgitating that information. Oh, the link doesn't work. Oh, Lord. Let me see. La, la, la. Bow to your partner. Then you turn around. No, it works. Here. I'll give you guys a link in the comments. It does work. Or maybe it only works on my end. Here. All right. Put this on the screen so you guys can see it. And then Michael says, stop being lazy. Fine. I'll go ahead and create the product. Let me upload the picture. Okay. Michael says, you're very spicy today. What it is, yo? What's up? Where's the picture? Michaela. Is it there? I don't. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put a different picture because I don't know where the picture is. So let's just there. Okay. Here. It should work now. If it doesn't work for you guys, this link should absolutely work. Okay. Like my ex, the organic portal narcissistic ass that I am taking to court, I'm going to need a lot in my repository. Nicole, breathe. Breathe. Whether you take him to court or not, that is strictly your decision. But allowing your energy to be depleted through bursts of anger, which is understandable, by the way, it is going to deplete your reserves. No matter what expedites you choose, they will deplete your reserves. So you need to return back to an emotional and mental state of neutrality, and just know that you are making whatever the decision you're going to make, and you're going to follow through with that. And the outcome, what you need to fixate on is seeing the outcome as though it's already a memory. The outcome being one that's in your favor, assuming what you're doing has integrity, which I feel like you're full of integrity. So, this type of thing doesn't work if people are doing things that don't have integrity. No, I'm speaking in general terms. If what you guys are planning has no integrity and you're just trying to be hurtful and harmful to other people, you're a fucking dick and your plans won't work. Michael's laughing with me. I know. Michael asked, did you realize how funny that would sound? I know. I know. So you guys don't waste your energy on those emotions. Just push it all the way through. Focus on what needs to be done. In the world, not of the world. So these organic portals are absolutely of this world. They're in this world. They're of this world. And their efforts to derail your progress, to hinder, to, sabotage is not going to work, because you are operating under the umbrella of the will of soul. I'm telling you right now, and I told quite a few people who have tried to really destroy me, you cannot, as a human being, undo the will of my immortal soul. Stop playing yourself. You cannot override the will of my soul. Know your place. You're a fucking human. Humans can't do that. Humans, however, can make it difficult for you by starting shit with you. And if you play into that, if you buy into that, if you allow yourself to get sucked into that, then yeah, you increase the potentiality of their success. So what's the solution? come to life and actively use your energy to create the circumstance and opportunities that you actually want and need. You know exactly what you want and what you need. Make that happen. Make it happen for yourself. Look for the different ways you can bring that potentiality closer and closer and closer into actuality. Allowing yourself to get to a point where you are completely depleted and you have no other options. And now you feel like you're at the mercy of someone else. And now you're like begging for them to, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was an individual, still makes me laugh. They were trying for quite a few months to do their little like dark magic work on me while I'm live. And it was this thing where, and it was documented, they would even end their live stream once they realize I'm about to go live. My team let me know because they were documenting everything. And they would end their live stream and they would quietly enter into my live stream and they would start with their poppet, like their little poppet, right? Let me show you something. Let me show you guys something. Hold on. There's different types of energetic tools, right? How are you ever going to convince me that someone who very intensely uses needles could override someone who very easily makes spiritual weaponry? This is considered a dagger, more like a swagger. It's in between the size of a dagger and a full-blown sword. While you're working with your needles, I'm over here living my best life. Why? You have no authority over me. And they tried for quite a few months. Every time I'm live. And nothing happened. Why? Because I gave no space for any of that to happen. Why else? Why else? Because a silly human can never override the will of an immortal soul. I don't even want a live stream, but I can't override the will of my soul. Let that sink in before you start getting afraid and blowing all of your energy on things that are nonsensical, absolutely nonsensical. And people want to convince you they're more powerful than they actually are. Don't waste your time and energy on that. Focus everything on what you're trying to create. And I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, but I deeply hold in my heart this genuine belief that shitty people who like to harm others, they're just beneath me. They're not worth my time. They're not worth my energy. I definitely will never bless them with either of those things. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, that I have a genuinely held belief that people who go out of their way to harm others are beneath me. They are less than me. And they will never be blessed with my time, my energy, or my focus. Ever. I will give them none of it. Don't give them any of it. Understand the value of your energy, your time, and your focus. Use that for the people who you love, the people who love others and want to spread love, want to encourage the facilitation of healing on a global level. These petty ass people who like to try and climb over others, they're petty. They're nonsensical in their existence. Leave them be. You're not going to be their teacher. You're not going to be the one that teaches them how to be a good, productive person, one that holds space for others as they heal, rather than seeing someone in the process of healing as, ooh, that's an easy target, right? No, no. People who want and actually do target others, basura. That's just straight up garbage. That's garbage ass behavior. Toss it to the side. That's not a loss for you. So that individual, months with their little needle. And I was just like, you know, how much money are you spending on puppets? Like, you're fucking destroying them. I mean, you're hurting your own feelings. Why? Well, because you keep needing to make new puppets and use more of your apothecary to try and curse me and all this other shit, yet nothing's working. You're hurting your own feelings. My soul and God will never allow you to access me. Is it because I'm cocky? No, it's because I understand finally. I understand enough to know if I am doing what my soul is telling me to do, nothing is allowed to happen to me. However, if I am doing what I think I should be doing and I'm fucking with other people because now I'm running off ego and, oh, I'm going to teach you a lesson. And no, my soul's like, learn. You're going to learn because eventually you're going to fuck with the wrong person. So learn. I don't need to learn that way. I don't need to learn that way. I would hope that you would know that you don't need to learn that way either. What happens next? Completely up to you. Choose the best option, the option that facilitates your healing. It facilitates your growth and expansion of awareness, and it actually fully supports you bringing to full fruition the type of life that's worthy of you. This is a period we're going to do that. Or for some, this is a period where you're going to be presented with the opportunity to do that and you're going to still not choose it. It's up to you. Both options are valid. And they're valid, but you also have to remember you're the only one that's going to live through the consequence of that action, that decision. You'll be stuck with that until you finish out that lesson. It could be a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years, who knows? So choose wisely for yourselves. I got to get going. Final reminder, I'll be live on the 13th for the blood moon lunar eclipse, and I'm going to be adding 2 more activations to that at some point later today. I almost forgot. We are almost sold out of the Quantum Potential event. This is a 2-day in-person event. It's going to be towards the middle or end of spring. I'm not disclosing the location or the dates publicly because some people are fucking weird. They just try and show up and shit. With this, it's a 2-day event, and I'll be heavily focused the first day on whole being wellness, eating for your frequency, turning your physical health around, empowering you to become the healthiest version of yourself that's ever existed. And then the second day will be about empowering you through your financial journey. We're going to be talking about the soul-based business, and it's going to be a very intensive workshop. So I'm going to have my body workers on hand. They are highly specialized in extremely high level body work. This is not like a massage. This is about fascia release, lymphatic flushing, and just really powerful work that will help to facilitate the movement and flow of your energy. Not only are these body workers very, very elevated in their training for body work, they're also certified in my program. So when I say they're going to be working on your body during this event, they're going to be working on your physical body, emotional body, all your luminous bodies, etheric body, everything. So the seats are almost sold out. 2-day event, in person. It's not online, it's in person. You better hurry if you want to have that ticket. There are single digits left. So First come, first serve. We will not hold the tickets for anyone at this point. I got to get going. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you again very soon. Bye, everybody.